Welcome back to my series in which I try to answer this. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and watch parts 1 through 3 and then come on back. Like I said before, if you've made it this far, I'm really proud of you and excited that you're here. My goal for today is to walk you through the research studies that were conducted in the 80s and the early 90s because they helped shape and had profound impact on the Learn to Swim industry today. In 1985, the National Aquatic Journal became the first periodical that was designed to educate and be for the professional educator. It was because of this journal that then began the excited phase where research for aquatics and aquatic programming for infants and young children began. One of the exciting things that happened in the 80s is that swim lesson programs saw a shift from teacher-led programs to more a child-centered developmental program. In 1981, Murray's InfAquatic and Shank's A Child's Way to Water Play made a huge impact. These two programs marked the start for more a developmentally sound and humanistic approach to teaching kids how to swim. Each work in their own way suggested that we can't teach kids the way we teach adults, that learning through play was way more important than learning formal strokes. And finally, the learning of skills was sequential and progressive. Around the same time, a bunch of researchers were also looking and challenging the assumption of how skills were actually acquired. These studies suggested that younger and more inexperienced children were going to display movement patterns that are more rudimentary, and that with age and experience, the patterns became more complex. Conversely, another trend that emerged in the 80s and the early 90s was the examination of drown-proofing programs for infants and toddlers. Because even at that time, researchers were well aware that drowning was the leading cause of preventable death in kids under the age of 5. So in opposition to the American Red Cross and the YMCA's pre-existing programs for infant and preschool aquatics that were looking at swim lessons from more of a play-based or child-centered approach, the drowning issue led to the evolution of several drowning prevention programs that stressed that infants and toddlers could be conditioned to save themselves. Back in the 80s, most programs were called drown-proofing lessons, and today we typically call them survival lessons. In 1989, a doctoral dissertation was written to look at the different methodologies to determine which was more effective. Amongst the finding, a play-based approach was actually found to be just as effective as teacher-led instruction. I have so much more information to cover, so come on back for part 5.